Sunshine. Yo, what's up YouTube? Charizma here, and today we're talking about Hunter x Hunter, the stop-start stepchild of the late 90s to early 2000s class of Shonen Jump. Now, Hunter x Hunter is one of those series that I never really followed week to week, but was always aware of in some way. The only two characters I knew for like 12 years were Gon and Hisoka, okay? But I've read bits of the manga and watched like the first couple of arcs from the 1999 anime a long time ago, but other than that, I haven't started to become a super Hunter x Hunter fan until like the past couple of years, thanks to the Madhouse reboot of the anime and because of games like Jump Force that really piqued my interest in the series once again. Like, what the fuck kind of power is this? Why is Kurapika in a suit? Like, it looks cool, but Basically, it forced me to binge on the new and improved series as well as catch up with the Succession War in the manga. And now here I am downloading Neferpito fan art. No, she's not a trap, she is an insect. At the time of recording, the manga has been on a 2-year hiatus, and there's still no announcement in sight about the anime returning, so just like all of you, I'm just sitting here waiting for the return of the series, but the well-being of the mangaka is more important. So until then, back to the Neferpito fan art. Until then, I get to make videos like these. There will be a part 2 to this. I plan on making a separate Hunter x Hunter ranking video on which is the best form of departure, so look out for that coming pretty soon. But for now, I'm going to be ranking all of the endings. There are 3 endings from the 1999 Nippon adaptation of the series, as well as 3 more from 3 separate OVAs in the early 2000s. And then there are 6, but really 5, beautiful endings from the 2011 Madhouse adaptation of the series. 11 endings in total to rank here. And of course, the criteria will be, as always, music, artistic direction, plot relevance, and the almighty nostalgia factor. Before I get started with the list, I just have one quick question that all real Hunter x Hunter fans must answer correctly in order to continue with the video. You ready? Here it goes. So, what are the properties of Hisoka's bungee gum? Take your time, you know, might be a trick question, maybe not. No cheating, no going on Google, no Hunterpedia, no none of that shit. No wikis, you know what I'm saying? It's multiple choice. Let me know what your answers are in the comment section below. Let's get started now with every Hunter x Hunter ending ranked from worst to best. Number 11. Right, so this is going to be a quick one. Why, you ask? Well, as you watch the ending down in this little corner over here, you will see exactly why. There's just nothing going on at all in this ending. Besides this quick flash of Kurapika's Nen contract with his holy chains and a pretty laid-back Chrollo in his first identity from the series, the entire first half of this ending is literally just a zoom-out shot of Kurapika sitting on an invisible bench or ledge of some sort, with the sky progressing from nighttime to a cloudy day behind him in the background. Then, a close shot of him comes into frame, which turns into a silhouette with flashes of Leorio, Killua, and Gon as Kurapika would see them during their everyday interactions. And after this very minor thing, it's straight back to Kurapika on his invisible bench, but this time with a smile on his face and the camera zooming in. He stands up proudly, marches towards the sun, what's up bro, and that's it. The freeze frame sepia filter, that's a wrap folks. Definitely not the most exciting ending in the world. Before anyone starts jumping to conclusions, I love the 1999 Hunter x Hunter anime. I actually think it's underrated. I have a real soft spot for it, even though this is actually from an OVA from 2002, but Nippon animation, you get my point. The original run of the Hunter x Hunter anime actually has a lot of other endings that are structured very similarly like this, but don't drag nearly as much for me. And that's because I believe that if you're going to do an ending like this, the song that comes with it has to be a bop. No disrespect to Shimokawa-san, she definitely has some pipes on her, let me tell you. But this song is still kinda mid to me. Yeah, I really enjoy the symbolism behind this ending, how the entire sky brightens up after Kurapika gets inspired by his friends. And yeah, I enjoy how Kurapika-centric this ending is, even if it was used for the OVA literally right after the end of the York New City arc, but it's not enough to save this ending. Sorry to anyone that likes it. And I never even watched this OVA anyways. By the time I found out about this, the 2011 anime was already booming. Poor popcorn. The only ending not picked for the top 10. Number 10. I feel like this is going to be one of those endings that make people comment shit like, oh, why is this so low? This is a crime. Underrated. And I just want you to remember, you down there, I see you about to click that button, that I'm on your side here, okay? Yes, everyone loves the Chimera Ant arc. It's great. Literally, the episode that I cut this ending from was the one where Pito turned Kite's head into catnip. Spoilers? This arc is fucking amazing, man. But similar to my previous entry, and even more egregious in my opinion because the 2011 anime is just absolutely beautiful, this ending is overall still kind of boring, you know? The first half is great, don't get me wrong. All of these sparkling shooting stars, yeah, see what they did there? Raining down around Gon and Killua look amazing. The lighting here is fantastic. And this montage of the sources of Gon and Killua's inspiration afterwards is also very emotional, especially with the direction that the series is headed in. For Gon, it's an orange background, sort of representing the fire from his Jajan-ken, with images of Kite and Jing, and Killua gets a contrasting blue background, sort of similar to his lightning, and depression with images of him and Gon after finding out about Kite. On an amber shining lake, we see a bunch of other characters involved in this arc. Kite, Knuckle, Shoot, Palm, Moro, the GOAT, Nove, and Chairman Netero. And this ending was turning out really great until the chorus dropped, unfortunately, with this nighttime scene of Gon and Killua. Again, it's not bad, it's just not standout, you know? And it also doesn't help that this is probably my least favorite Yuzu song out of the three. Maybe that's a hot take, I don't know. Look, the background here is pretty, right? Especially when the sun rises at the end. And I also appreciate Gon literally turning a stone into a shooting star because of the title of the song, obviously, and because Gon's also an enhancer, so, you know, why wouldn't he be able to do this if he focused hard enough? The second half of this ending is still just okay, though. It's not bad, but the first half is way better with all of the characters, the gorgeous shooting stars from the very beginning, and the music here with the acoustic guitar and the bells and such. Ah, it's so good. Number 9. Now, I know what you're thinking, but charisma, isn't this just like the popcorn ending in the sense that there's absolutely nothing going on? In fact, shouldn't this be even worse because it's literally just two still images the entire time on blank backgrounds as opposed to an elaborately detailed sky? Well, to answer your questions, this is what I meant when I said that the right song can change everything. This song is a banger, bro. So much that it made me rank this ending above a Madhouse one. Ooh. Controversy. I'm not taking any slander on this song, okay? It's amazing. Even though, once again, I never watched any of the OVAs from the early 2000s. And yeah, sure, these two images are very basic. It's just an image of Chrollo on a black background and an image of Kurapika on a white background. But you can't tell me that Chrollo isn't one of the most fashionable antagonists in all of anime. Just look at the drip, bruh. Both in his clothes and on his face, as he's clearly sweating from exhaustion, but is still very calm and composed. And then Kurapika, man. This is something I never knew I needed. This is 2020. This is what 2020 has done to me. Make it stop! Kurapika puts himself through so much stress, man, in every mission that he goes on. Anyone caught up with the Succession War in the manga knows that this is probably Kurapika's face 24/7 on that ship, negotiating with all of these soldiers and hunters working under the other princes. So much distress and anxiety is written all over his face here. I love this image. Not only is this ending a short and sweet depiction of the dynamics at play within York New City, and not only are these images very entertaining, but the song is just amazing, bruh. It sounds very that 70s show, you know? This is the correct way to do these very simple endings. Number 8. right off the bat, this ending has so much more going on in it than any of the endings made by Nippon Animation that I've mentioned thus far. I think I still might like Carry On better if we're comparing just songs, but Hotaru is still a really enjoyable song in its own right. It has a very summertime while riding your bike through a park kind of sound to it, which is great for that early section of Hunter x Hunter before things got bad. I mean, things were already bad, but I mean really bad. Starting off the ending, we get flashes of Gon in sections of York New City, and the colors, man, the graininess and the blurring effect here gives these scenes a much needed sense of flair. A panning down shot of Gon then commences, and I really enjoy how the image of him transitions into a manga styled colored version of him. After the screen fades to black, we then go over to these very yellow steps where Killua is sitting and contemplating by himself, and we also see Kurapika showing off his holy chain in front of a side-scrolling gate, and once again, man, the graininess makes this look so much more awesome than it should. I will admit that once the chorus comes in, the camera does stay on Leorio a little bit too long here, but this is still an ending, you know? They probably used this section to put most of their credits in, it's no big deal. And the greenish hue covering this entire scene makes it memorable at the very least. Plus, Leorio just looks cool here, okay? Pit Leorio, Senku, and Chopper in a room together and this whole virus thing will be a thing of the past. Once again, I appreciate the fade to black shot of the character in question transitioning into a manga style drawing. It's awesome. As an OG Hunter x Hunter anime fan, this ending will always score nostalgia points for me, but besides that, the song is also really enjoyable, and I can say this is definitely the most colorful ending from the original Hunter x Hunter anime run. It's very solid, but still not on the level of some of my absolute favorites, even from within that original anime run. Number 7. This one is all nostalgia points here. The song is great, and the animation here matches the aesthetic perfectly, but I would probably love this ending no matter what song was used for it. It just so happened that we got an emotional ending such as this one sung by the beautiful voice of Minako Honda as the first ever ending to the series. Look, I don't really like the original English voice for Gon either, alright? It made him sound 5 years older than he's supposed to be in the series, but besides that, the amazing soundtrack, the incredible adaptation of the first Gon vs Hisoka battle from the Hunter exam, despite Hisoka's color scheme at the time. Ugh. This ending takes me back to all of it, man. I think my overall take for this ending is that it does a lot with very little. The entire thing is basically just shots of Mito left all by herself on Whale Island after Gon left to take the Hunter exam. It's honestly a bit sadder than it needs to be, but I appreciate how focused this ending is on Aunt Mito. I always love character-specific things, even if all of this somberness is about 100 episodes premature. It's okay, Aunt Mito. I know you're worried about Gon and everything, but you know, you still have a few more months before Gon's entire world begins to crumble around him. Most of this ending consists of various shots of Mito and of the surrounding area. We get a couple full body shots, a couple close-ups, a few shots of the shadows and of the Freaks' home, a few shots of the moon. It's all very atmospheric, you know? The way the camera moves around in this middle section is even almost dizzying if you speed it up fast enough, and I love it. Mito, still sad, but this time during the day, here looks awesome in conjunction with the chorus, especially with all these flickering reflections of the sun on the leaves of this tree above her. At the end, we then see Aunt Mito's necklace left on a table in the middle of the night, and yeah, this ending is a moody masterpiece. What else can I say? This may be ranked a little too high or even a little too low for some people out there, but I think it's great for this middle portion of the list, you know? Nothing about it is blow me away awesome. Everything here is pretty regular, but the nostalgia, man, and the vocal performance here does indeed give this ending an edge over a lot of the other ones. And yeah, like, it's the first ever ending. Put some respect on it. Number 6.
必殺技習得のためビスケとの修行を重ねるゴン。
Finally, we get to talk about Greed Island, where Hunter x Hunter does Yu-Gi-Oh! Better than Yu-Gi-Oh! And welcome to my second favorite Yuzu song on the list. Spoilers. I think I like this song the most for the lead-in that plays at the end of the episode leading into the beat drop. You can't tell me that this isn't soothing. Wow! Come on, bro. This theme song was also used as the ending for the Phantom Rouge movie. We won't forget you, Rets. You did live a real life in the end. Controversial hot take incoming. I actually prefer the other ending that was used for the Greed Island arc, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Despite that, this ending has a lot to offer and goes out of its way to showcase the bond between Biscuit, Gon, and Killua. Even more so than the actual arc did, believe it or not. This ending is built around these three characters. In the beginning, we see Gon, Killua, and Biscuit staring off into the distance with the wind blowing through their hair. Then we get nicely synced up images of Anto Kiba with the music. Then we return to the adventures of Gon, Killua, and Biscuit. We see them sharing a meal, traveling, searching for cards, resting, Biscuit making sure her edges are laid, all the bickering, you know, pretty wholesome stuff. After all of this, then we get a panning up shot of the three. This colorful background is awesome. These poses are awesome. Rest in peace, Killua's yo-yo. This whole scene is awesome. What's rather underrated though are all these quick images that flash on the screen occasionally. I've touched on the ones from earlier, and right before the scene I was just talking about could be a wallpaper easily, but my favorite set of jump cut images are these of a currently in use joy station, Gon and Killua's training site, a bloodstained volleyball, immediately triggering memories of the only correct way to play dodgeball, practically a death match, shout out to Razor obviously, and Warren Buffett's, Batera's lover from the past. You can't tell me he doesn't look like him though. Oh yeah, and this final scene of Gon and Killua surrounded by a bunch of cherry blossom petals is also very, very attractive. And speaking of attractive, and no, I'm not touching on the whole Jean Neeg situation, okay? The edginess speaks for itself. We all know what this is. Moving on now. Number 5. Oh, nostalgia. This is definitely one of the first things that pops into my head when I think about the original Hunter x Hunter anime. This soundtrack, my god! And this is my overall favorite ending made by Nippon Animation. These montages of moments from the series translucently positioned on top of a scene of the sky at the beginning and at the end of this ending is a great way of adding some fast-paced action to the ending without doing too much, you know? My favorite image is this one of Hisoka. Just look at the memes pouring out of the expression on this man's face. The rest of the ending also involves some pretty polished up scenes of people like Gon, Killua, Kurapika, Leorio, Hisoka, and Illumi, all on vacation, it seems like, or probably just in the middle of a mission close to a shore when they have some downtime. A lot of the scenes in this ending are just very relaxing, you know? You get this very wholesome scene of Gon and Killua fishing together. I'm pretty sure after this, Killua would teach Gon how to skateboard as well. Very wholesome. You got Kurapika finally looking like he's genuinely enjoying something for once, with Miami Vice Leorio right beside him. You got Illumi in shorts! And you got this absolutely gorgeous scene of the entire crew just bonding and shit. You know I love a great sunset scene. In between all of this, you got spinning cards showing off characters like Hisoka, Illumi, members of the Zoldyck family, Zushi, and Gon, Killua, and Zushi's Nen Master, Wing. All in all, this ending is just the type that I'm always going to gravitate to, regardless of if it has pretty animation, because the song is just so late 90s, early 2000s, and I love it, man. It fits great with the tone of Hunter x Hunter around this point in the series. Still fairly early, and the nostalgia is off the charts with me for this ending. Honestly, I don't even remember what year it was, but I was a kid, still new to the internet, very early in my otaku career, and after reading a couple volumes for free in Borders because thug life, I scoured the internet for episodes of the Hunter x Hunter anime because it had never been aired on Toonami like a lot of the other anime that I grew up with did. And once I found the right link, oh boy, the binge began. This ending always takes me back to my first reactions to moments like Killua's shocking disqualification from the Hunter exam, then subsequently digging into his complicated family. It's okay, Killua, you aren't the only one with a huge family full of misfits. However, mine is not made entirely of assassins, so And of course, the introduction of Nen. This ending is packed with memories for me, so even though it's very much an ending of its time in many ways, I love it too much personally to not include it in my top 5. Number 4. I think I'm in love with this song way more than I really should be. I actually want them to use this for the end of the series. It's such a tender-hearted song, but there's no way in hell that's happening because 1, there's barely anyone who remembers this OVA. 2, there's since been a shift in production studios. And 3, let's be real, who knows when Hunter x Hunter is coming back. But yeah, this is what I was referring to when talking about the Reason ending before. No disrespect to that song, but this ending from the final Greed Island OVA just warms my heart so much, man. There's next to nothing going on in this entire ending, so I can't confidently say that it's my favorite Nippon animation ending, but it is undoubtedly my favorite song. So that is how it has found its way all the way up here in the number 4 position. Watching an ending like this after experiencing everything regarding the Chimera extermination mission almost brings me to tears, man, because look at how happy things used to be. The entire ending is basically just 2 images, but I like the art style for both. Kinda like a pastel type of drawing, you know? The entire first minute of this ending is a slow zoom out shot of Hisoka with his levitating risky dice, while also sitting at a table with Gon and Killua sharing drinks. Behind them is Biscuit, either making some sort of announcement or channeling her inner Soul King, with a bunch of random people, I don't see anyone really notable here, sitting at a cafe to the left of all 4 of them, and all of this is set on a beach. Once again with that pastel style artwork. When the chorus comes back in, we then switch to images of Gon and Killua with some slight wind animation on top of their training site with Biscuit on Greed Island until the screen fades to white. Again, not a lot going on here at all, but isn't the song just wonderful? Greed Island is one of the more underrated arcs in Hunter x Hunter, I think, just because everyone's either talking about York New City or the Chimera extermination mission. But again, Togashi essentially created an entirely new intellectual property within his own fictional world. Like, they can make completely different anime and games based solely off of this. In fact, they already did for mobile devices, but they aren't my sponsors. I don't think we've gotten there yet, boys. My point here is that the song symbolizes the spirit of Greed Island more so than any of the other themes used around this time in the series. Besides Departure, obviously, but that's like applicable for every arc in Hunter x Hunter, really, you know? Number 3. Okay, so when I tell you that this ending caught me by surprise, oh my god, it was love at first sight. And I'm actually furious with myself for this because, believe it or not, I definitely skipped this entire ending when watching the reboot of the Hunter x Hunter anime. When I picked back up again with Hunter x Hunter, I started right where I left off about 5 years previous, which is the York New City arc. So not until the making of this video did I even know that this ending was a thing. Boy, did I miss out. First off, yeah, I'm black, and sometimes I speak in Ebonics and say things like, yeah, I mean, but I'm also a punk slash metalhead that occasionally paints his nails black and still, to this day, wishes that he had hair long enough to style it like Andy Six from Black Veil Brides. Long story short, on the outside, I'm a regular guy, but on the inside, I'm like Uta from Tokyo Ghoul. My point is that the metalcore, but still kind of dancey sound here from Just Awake by the band Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was right up my alley. But let's talk about the actual ending now. I mean, let's get straight to it, man. You all know what I'm talking about. It's the scene of Hisoka. It's so fucking funny, bro. I think it's way more funnier than it should be, honestly, because it's also actually pretty badass in a way too, which just makes it kind of funnier. Because we all know Hisoka is strong as shit, right? But like, all right, the way that the synths come in right on cue and like the bright light just shining on his crotch, bro, it's so good. Like, this man is utterly stimulated. Other just as epic scenes, but not nearly as hilarious, include one scene right before this masterpiece, actually. During the first half of the verse, we see Gon, Killua, Kurapika, and Leorio, the gang, perched atop a tree branch on a very foggy, very cloudy day. And it's just so damn, you know, it's great. Then we got Hisoka, the GOAT! And right after him, we see a beautiful sunset scene. You know I love my sunsets now. Of Gon running in front of this thing, what the hell is this, until the rest of the crew catches up. We see the entire crew falling down a chasm, and the shaky camera really adds a lot to the sense of speed and velocity here. I also just really appreciate how Killua has his hands in his pockets the entire time. It's a very minor but incredibly charming touch when getting across the type of character he is. We also have in the beginning shots of the main crew with a rig of flashing lights behind them, and all of this looks so pretty, especially in tandem with the music. And then right after this, we see the rest of the aspiring hunters taking part in this year's hunter exam, as well as its proctors, Menchi, Buhara, Satos, and Chairman Netero. Then all the way at the end, we get the Screamo section of the ending, with Gon, Leorio, Kurapika, bro, what are you leaning on? And Killua appearing on screen with the Hunter Association logo popping up in the background as well. Yeah, this ending is phenomenal, bro. I don't really know what else to say about it. The only reason why it's not any higher than number 3 is because I skipped it, you know? Therefore, it carries no nostalgia for me, but still, man. It has a bunch of awesome scenes, one hilarious scene. The song is killer, and everyone loves the beginning of Hunter x Hunter, so it didn't take long at all for this to become one of my absolute favorites. Number 2.
予定変更だ。
戻らぬ羽毛銀に
Now, I don't know if it was the memes that did this, or the video clips, or the overuse of departure that did it to me, but for the longest time, I had always treated this song as Hunter x Hunter's actual theme song. Something about it just screams Hunter x Hunter, you know? If you're a fan of this series, then your ears will always immediately perk up once you hear that first instrumental section of the song. You know, the lead-in that plays during the final moments of the episode right before the actual ending drops. It's something about this ending that gets you really fired up and ready to squash some spiders, you know? This first image of Gon with a very mysterious Jing in the background is one of the first images that pops into my head when I think about Hunter x Hunter, period. That's how ingrained in my memory this ending is. The York New City arc really reignited my love for the series, if you can't tell. I dropped the original series before this arc was finished a while ago because Naruto truly started to consume my life in a real way for a few years, but it's thanks to things like this ending that I'm such a huge Hunter x Hunter fan now. Of course, there's also moments like Gon and Hisoka's rematch at Heaven's Arena, Kurapika versus Uvogin in the deathmatch of the century, Chrollo taking on both of the patriarchs of the Zoldyck family all by himself, just flexing, and Gon and Killua trying to outwit Nobunaga that make the York New City arc so great for me. But the Hunting for Your Dream ending really acts as that musical cherry on top, you know, that makes this arc all that more memorable. This ending is essentially everything that you need to know about this arc within 90 seconds or less, beginning with all the grim and mysterious motivating factors for each of the 4 main protagonists. Leorio's not so much. Science! Following this, we get a shot of literally all of the relevant characters from this section of the story, including each of the bodyguards working with Kurapika to protect the Nostrad family's first daughter. Zeppile, of course, the one who helped Gon and Killua obtain a copy of Greed Island, or, you know, to get the funds to obtain a copy of Greed Island. Zushi uses Gyo and Ren. Then as the chorus comes in, we see the Phantom Troop appear with a diagram of Nen in the background, with a bunch of neural thread looking things sprouting from it. Uvogin, Nobunaga, Finks, Machi, Shizuku, Pakunoda, Kortopi, Bonolenov, Franklin, Phaeton, Shalnark, Hisoka, Chrollo, all of the members of the troop stop by to say hi right before this final scene finishes off the ending. A still shot of the main crew with the Hunter x Hunter logo in the background, colored and shaded wonderfully. Now, the main reason, I guess, why this ending only comes in second place for me is because it lacks a certain emotional factor to it all. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But despite that, the song, the arc, everything about this ending is iconic Hunter x Hunter material, really. And once again, man, Studio Madhouse, job well done, you know? I'm holding the mic right now, so I can't, like, clap, but yeah, this looks amazing. And that brings us to number 1. Oh, what could it be? Honestly, it couldn't have been anything else for me. This song has been stuck in my head throughout the entire making of this video and for the entire past month, to be honest. But besides that, Meruem is probably my favorite antagonist in all of Shonen. More than Madara Uchiha, more than Sosuke Aizen, more than Dio, more than Frieza or Cell or Majin Buu, Meruem is a brilliant character, man. And without going on too long of a tangent here, because we're supposed to be talking about endings, he might even be my favorite character overall in the series as well. It's difficult, you know? Killua is up there as well. I love Killua. But him coming to understand the nature of the world around him, the nature of his abilities as well, the battle with Netero, his relationship with Komugi, there's so many nuances to his character. And his transformation from a ruthless overlord ruling over his loyal subordinates into a loving older brother of sorts is everything that I love about Hunter x Hunter in a nutshell. What makes this ending number one though isn't necessarily the animation on display here, even though that's beautiful, or the song, even though that's amazing too. It's the way that it all comes together, really, to showcase all of the physical and emotional dynamics at play as the Chimera Ant extermination mission reaches its climax. Don't even get me started on all of the cliffhangers that led into this ending. Killua unleashing Godspeed for the first time, Gon versus Neferpito, obviously, the conclusion of the chairman election. Cheetle, I love you. No, I'm not a furry. I could go on and on, man. Clearly, this ending has a bit of an advantage over all of the others by being used for the most intense part of the series, but regardless of the context, in and of itself, the ending is also very solid. Starting from the top, we get a flash of light with more streams of light falling in the background, and we see Gon in his Jajanken stance, Killua, Pito, Ikalgo, Meleoron, Knuckle, Shoot, Yuppie, Moral, the GOAT! Shiapoof, Meruem, Nove, and Netero. And just now, mid-writing, I'm actually realizing how the good guys are on one side and the bad guys are on opposing sides. Even though they aren't all good guys and they aren't all bad guys, but this is what makes the art so good. Komugi opens her eyes, cueing the chorus, and all of the Gungi chips are then tossed into the air with images of a bunch of the characters' faces on them. And we also see flashes of Gon, Killua, Meruem, and Komugi in the middle of it all. We then see Meruem and Komugi back to back one last time until it transitions into a portrait of the Chimera Ant arc as a whole, including everybody. And this image is beautiful. Of course, it's one of the wallpapers for my PC. Just look at it. The second version of this ending used after the Chimera Ant arc is less good. They even changed the freaking lead-in, like one of the best parts, but it is still very, very, very good. It's far simpler than the first ending, but it's just as beautiful, you know? Showing Gon, Killua, Kurapika, and Leorio, each in black suits, standing on a mirror floor staring off into the sky. The animation on the sky here is just incredible. The clouds, the moon, the stars, it's all just breathtaking, man. Leorio then awkwardly looks back at the camera wondering if the shot is over, and then it all ends with a framed picture of the main crew. So not only is this ending a deeply emotional retrospect of the Chimera Ant arc, but it's also a very cathartic send-off for the anime as a whole. What can't this ending do? Now, who knows when the hiatus will end and if the anime will ever return. I'm sure it will at some point, even if it's non-canon. All I know is that this ending gets me in my feelings so much, man. That's why it's number one on my list. Relatable characters, a bunch of emotionally intense battles, and one of the greatest antagonists that I've ever seen in fiction ever all come together to make one of the very few anime themes that almost brings me to tears, no matter how many times I hear it. That's why it's number one.